From that point forward, we have been seeing next to no exchanging action on the Bybit and Coinbase diagrams over the course of the last hour, 2 hours, and 4 hours. For example, how much Bitcoin being exchanged the most recent couple of days is incredibly little. One might say it is going down. Okay, obviously, we need to be prepared for Bitcoin to go up, which I believe is somewhat more reasonable. However, we additionally should be ready in the event that Bitcoin quits going up and begins going down once more. For that reason I need to compose and enlighten you. What is the following cost objective we want to reach? Assuming we completed our most memorable wave and second wave, we can utilize Fibonacci levels to foresee the following cost target. We take a gander at the high and depressed spots of the second wave to sort it out. Be that as it may, we completed our second Alnut wave at an expense of roughly $37,600 USD. Assuming that occurs, we ought to focus on our 1.618 Fibonacci expansion level is at around $33,400 US. I figure this target might be reached on the off chance that our CPI information is downright terrible, and assuming the Bitcoin cost drops a ton, perhaps soon. On the off chance that occurs, and our significant help regions are broken, I would agree that we want to focus on the 618 Fibonacci expansion level at a cost of $33,400 US. As I would see it, it's not likely that the cost will go up essentially. However, we ought to in any case be ready in the event that the expansion report is downright horrendous. Presently, how about we examine a few signs that show the market is probably going to go up? How about we examine our hopeful expectation at the cost of Bitcoin? At present, we can see a major or generally excellent response occurring at the gold Fibonacci proportion region. In any case, that is not all. As I referenced in my past recordings, outstanding moving midpoints can be utilized on various time periods like 60 minutes, 2 hours, 4 hours, and, surprisingly, every day. Right now, the market is doing all around well and going up. Likewise, assuming you take a gander at the RSI pointer on the 1-hour time period for Bitcoin, it's showing that there is a higher low and a lower low framing. A couple of hours prior, there was even a secret bullish dissimilarity. Like clockwork, there is a time span, and at regular intervals, there is likewise a time period. They are both exactly the same thing. The cost of Bitcoin is making little drops and afterwards somewhat higher drops. This is making an example that shows the cost could go up soon. Indeed, as referenced a couple of days prior, we see a negative example on the everyday diagram, except in general there are no huge indications of a slump. We encountered a major misfortune in esteem with a ton of exchanging movement. Thus, hence, I need to say that assuming Bitcoin goes up, the principal level of obstruction it might confront is the brilliant Fibonacci proportion. Utilizing the gold Fibonacci proportion on our diagram, we start from the high point and drop down to the depressed spot. You will see that there is serious areas of strength for an at precisely $37,400 US, and from that point forward we are seeing incredibly low volume on the 1-hourly, on the 2-hourly, on the 4-hour time period, on the Bybit diagram here, yet additionally we can go with a Coinbase graph. For instance, the volume for Bitcoin in the recent days is very, very low. One might say it is diminishing towards the disadvantage. So, obviously, not just we need to be ready for more potential gain, which as I would see it, it is somewhat more probable, yet in addition consider the possibility that Bitcoin finished out at this particular region and we will rashly proceed with even lower. To that end I need to compose and impart to you. What will be our next vital cost target, assuming we currently say that we finished our most memorable rash component wave here, and we got additionally our subsequent component wave. Obviously, what is the following cost target? All we need to do, we go with our Fibonacci expansion levels from our swing high, back to our swing low, back towards the finish of our subsequent component wave. We could discuss when this second Alnut wave really got done, on the off chance that it was truly at this particular region, or perhaps at this particular region, or perhaps on the off chance that it's not even completed as of the present moment, and we will see one more push towards the inverse. However, we should simply say that we completed our second Alnut wave around at $37,600 USD. All things considered, we really do have to focus on our 1.618 Fibonacci expansion level, which will be at around $33,400 US. So I would agree that this particular objective will become possibly the most important factor, provided that right now our CPI information will be very, very negative, and we are really going to see a huge response in the Bitcoin value itself, and we are truly going to see a critical drop, perhaps in the forthcoming hours. Assuming that will be the situation. Assuming our critical help regions here will be broken, obviously, I would agree that 1.618 Fibonacci expansion level is a vital cost focus for us to focus on at $33,400 US. However, as referenced previously, to some extent as I would see it, it isn't ridiculously logical that we will see a critical push towards NASA, yet as referenced previously, we need to be arranged in light of the fact that consider the possibility that expansion report here will be very negative. Presently, we should discuss more bullish signs. We should discuss what will be our bullish situation for the Bitcoin value itself. We know right now that we are seeing a critical response, or really an exceptionally pleasant response, precisely at the gold Fibonacci proportion region here. However, not just that, as referenced currently in my past recordings, dramatic moving midpoints on the 1 hourly, on the 2 hourly, on the 4 hourly time period, even on the day-to-day time period. At the present time looking very bullish, we are in an upturn. Not just that, in the event that you will go, for instance with the RSI marker, suppose on the 1 hour time period, Bitcoin is shaping a higher low RSI spick and span, lower low, and we were even at the oversight region several hours prior, covered up, bullish dissimilarity. 2 hourly time period, for hourly time span, the very same thing. Lower low, higher low on the Bitcoin value itself, stowed away bullish divergences are correct now being shaped on nearby term time spans. Indeed, as currently referenced likewise 2 or 3 days prior, on the day-to-day time period, we are framing negative difference here. However, as referenced, locally talking, we are as yet not exactly seeing any major negative signs, just that we have gotten a huge dismissal towards the potential gain on a seriously high volume. Thus, hence, I might really want to say that assuming Bitcoin does see and go on as it would prefer towards the potential gain, our neighborhood, or truly our most memorable neighborhood obstruction is again going to be brilliant Fibonacci proportion. From the high back to our low, applying just the gold Fibonacci proportion on our outline. You can see the neighborhood opposition will come up precisely at 37,400 US, adjusting impeccably with our past highs for liquidity purposes. What's more, in addition, likewise estimating the whole upper cost activity with volume, you will see we really do have our worth region high around at the gold Fibonacci proportion. Certain individuals likewise say that assuming we truly do interface our past highs with a corner-to-corner area of opposition, that this level position here will pleasantly line up with the place of control. Also, indeed, I would concur with them. So what we can right currently say, assuming that Bitcoin proceeds with higher, our most memorable neighborhood obstruction for us to focus on, it will be this particular zone, around our past highs, roughly our inclining level, our place of control, our worth region high, and obviously additionally the brilliant Fibonacci proportion. At 37,400 US. When we begin breaking this particular area of obstruction toward the potential gain, as I would see it, we can be searching for a pristine higher high to be shaped on Bitcoin over 38,000 USD. However, presently, what will be our exchanging thoughts for now? Where we can really be searching for a pristine short, perhaps a long or a purchasing position, presently, on the off chance that you haven't proactively entered a fresh out-of-the-box new lengthy or a purchasing position at the gold Fibonacci proportion, going with a long or a purchase here, as I would see it, being the most ideal option is not exactly going. Essentially likewise realizing that in the forthcoming hours, we will see CPI information that is generally presumably going to influence the Bitcoin value itself. So going with a long or a purchase as of this moment, as I would see it, on the off chance that you haven't done as such at the gold Fibonacci proportion, not the most ideal choice. I would agree that going with a short situation as referenced before with an exchanging thought. Of that this here being a drive and this here being a rectification and that we can as of now expect lower is likewise going to be incredibly hazardous on the grounds that general cost activity here looks still extremely bullish. The request stream here likewise looks incredibly bullish, so obviously going right now with a short it's additionally going to be simply speculating. So as I would see it right now the most ideal choice will be stand by to see what the CPI information is really going to be and hold back to check whether Bitcoin will go lower, perhaps hit our most memorable significant help region. So where? To begin with, what we will see appears to be entirely authentic. Bitcoin went down from 38,000 US, yet presently it is by all accounts making an example to address this. Recently, the securities exchange went down once more. We are presently at around 36,000 US. It seems as though there is just a little change in the cost. Assuming that we take a gander at the least and most elevated places of the value, what is the main Fibonacci proportion? This will be our exceptional spot, here. Other than that, when we take a gander at the cost and how much exchanging that occurred, it appears as though there is a reaction at the lower cost range. Moreover, we additionally eliminated a cache to keep sufficient money accessible, thus, we were exchanging around a help region, the neighborhood market. As of now, we are seeing a slight vertical development. However, can Bitcoin stay at this degree of help for the following couple of hours? Furthermore, could it at any point continue onward up much more? This moment, everybody is observing near see what others are doing on the lookout. Indeed, we are seeing a few signs that the market is going up. Right now, the Bitcoin outlines show that there is a ton of strain to sell on the lookout. This implies that individuals are selling Bitcoin. In any case, the cost of Bitcoin is as yet higher than previously. On September 14th, I posted a tweet on Twitter expressing that there is a ton of movement with Bitcoin on the CVD marker. Individuals are attempting to purchase a ton, however are not effective. Be that as it may, in this present circumstance, we have a negative difference. Another high point was being made on the CVD marker. Bitcoin was making a lower high previously, however presently it's doing the inverse. We are seeing more individuals getting Bitcoin, however the CVD pointer is showing an extraordinary failure. This sign is awful for Bitcoin. It's an admonition that the cost of Bitcoin could go down, that we are seeing the inverse, which is really a decent sign at the cost of Bitcoin. Sadly, it's not generally so natural as you would naturally suspect. On September 14th, when I posted this, it was a terrible sign at the cost of Bitcoin. Be that as it may, we have seen a major expansion in the cost of Bitcoin. Assuming that we take a gander at the outlines, we can see that it occurred at a particular time. Bitcoin continued onward up significantly more. In the other heading, we are at present seeing a ton of purchasing and positive movement on the lookout. Tragically, we can't simply believe this information and say Bitcoin will go far up in light of the fact that there's new expansion information just around the corner. Presently what we can hope to see is a major decline from 3.7% becomes around 3. Be that as it may, in the following couple of numbers, we will figure out what the genuine information shows. Assuming Bitcoin continues onward up, it looks excellent on the grounds that a few specialized pointers show that it's probably going to continue onward up. Yet, there is another significant thing that I need to tell you. Imagine a scenario in which the signs that the cost will go up are not right, and it really continues onward down and gets through our help levels. Assuming we take a gander at the graph for 60 minutes, I let you know yesterday that this may be areas of strength for and on the lookout, that I think we as a whole concur that this cost development looks extremely restorative. In the event that we make a conjecture at this moment, the most noteworthy point for Bitcoin has been reached. Later in the video, I will let you know that speculating isn't the most ideal choice for exchanging that in any case. On the off chance that we say that Bitcoin has arrived at its most elevated point, we may simply be discussing a little lessening, not a significant drop. We just figured out we were dismissed at similar level we began from. Nonetheless, for the time being, we should examine the reason why this negative circumstance is right now conceivable, yet at the same not likely. Alright, Bitcoin has been consistently exchanging at the 37,000 region, and in the present Bitcoin cost forecast video, we'll discuss why significant value developments can be anticipated before very long, in light of the fact that not just we are seeing some crazy bullish retention, yet additionally a fresh out-of-the-box new expansion report will go live. However, what we, most importantly, will see, it truly seems to be that, after a dismissal at 38,000 USD region, indeed, Bitcoin got a critical push towards disadvantage, yet from that point forward, we are just framing a remedial example of some sort or another, basically looking on the 2-hourly time period. Recently, we got one more push towards drawback. Towards 36,000 US dollars, where it truly seems as though we are correct now seeing a tiny response, since, in such a case that we go from our swing low back to our swing high, what is the main Fibonacci proportion? It is really going to be our brilliant pocket, which was precisely at this particular region. What's more, estimating the whole upper cost activity with the volume, it truly seems as though we are seeing a response at the worth region low. What's more, in addition, we likewise took out certain lows for liquidity purposes, thus, we were exchanging at a neighborhood support region of some sort or another. Furthermore, this moment we are seeing a tiny turn back towards the potential gain. Obviously, the inquiry is Bitcoin going to have the option to hold our area of help for the following several hours here? Also, really proceed with its way significantly higher towards the inverse, in light of the fact that the fact of the matter is paying at present extremely close thoughtfulness regarding what others are doing on the lookout, that it truly seems to be that. Indeed, we are seeing a few bullish signs happening right presently in the Bitcoin outlines. Our CVD pointer, which is estimating in the event that the trading pressure is coming on the lookout, we are seeing a huge push towards drawback, which right currently implies selling pressure is coming straightforwardly in the market, while Bitcoin is as yet framing a higher low of some sort or another. Presently, on Twitter, on 14th of September, I posted an extremely fascinating tweet, which really said huge retention on Bitcoin is as of now occurring on the CVD pointer. Individuals are essentially purchasing particularly fruitlessly. Be that as it may, for this situation here, we got a negative difference. Shiny new higher high was shaping on the CVD marker. While Bitcoin was shaping a lower high currently, for this situation that we are seeing right now, it is in a real sense totally different. We are seeing a higher credit Bitcoin, however a spick and span lower low on the CVD marker. So on the off chance that this here was a negative sign for Bitcoin, was a high alert for the Bitcoin value itself as of the present moment, that we are seeing entirely different, which is really going to be a bullish sign for the Bitcoin value itself. However, tragically it isn't quite so basic as you would naturally suspect, on the grounds that on 14th of September, when I posted this, indeed, it was a huge negative sign for the Bitcoin value itself. In any case, we have gotten a huge siphon in the Bitcoin value itself since, supposing that we go at the present time, for instance, on the 4-hour time span and see when this was really occurring, it was truly happening roughly at this particular region, Bitcoin basically proceeded with significantly higher. Towards the inverse. So what is it that I need to say with this? Indeed, it seems to be that we are seeing right now the request stream that is coming in the market without a doubt and bullish. Be that as it may, tragically, we can't just aimlessly